You gotta do the cabbage soup diet.
That fucking Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
It's good though.
That's what Charlie's family had to eat.
That's a conspiracy corner in itself right there. Oh, wait. Welcome back to Conspiracy Corner. Persephanii, you okay? What just happened that made you itch like that?
Right here.
Maybe little my titty itch.
Getting heavier.
Let's start the show with a little titty itch.
It was a drop a little more. I'm like, what's going on? Both sides.
Back to Conspiracy Corner. I'm TJ Moore.
I'm Patrick Cloud.
We have our amazing guest, Persephanii.
An itchy titty guest.
Itchy titty gang. Right before we get into what we were talking about, I was saying we should do a conspiracy corner on all of these fucking fat ass diets that they have and all of these things that come and go with the wind. And Persephanii, you mentioned the what? The cabbage
soup diet. It's all about how you season it. It's so good. I did it. It's so good, and it flushes you and it fills you up too.
Is it just cabbage and water besides the seasoning?
You can use like onions, you can use peppers, but it's really about the seasoning. It's about the seasoning.
Okay, so calling it vegetable soup might be a little bit more appetizing, but
it's cabbage.
If you could only put two other things in there, it's still a. I mean,
no, you can put a variety. You can put a variety of vegetables in there if you want to, but it's still all in all, it's the cabbage soup.
That sounds awful.
But it is very good if you know how to season it.
What's the benefits of the cabbage stew or cabbage
weight loss?
Because
you know what cabbage do. Yeah. So weight loss, improved digestion.
How long are you supposed to do that? I would try it. How long
you should try it, but you season it. So I season it how I like to taste it. So I'm not miserable going through it. I'm not seasoning it like, somebody else's, because a lot of people don't know how to make cabbage soup well, to me.
Like Charlie's mom. He should have invited her to Willy Wonka's factory because they couldn't afford the shit you're talking about. They had just cabbage and water and heat. They didn't have no seasonings. They didn't have no onions or peppers.
They have a little salt.
He should have brought her so she could eat something better. You remember that? She would do laundry all day for other people and then come home and make cabbage soup, and then she got nothing for it.
The granddad didn't do nothing but lay in bed all fucking day.
Hey,
the fact that he got his ass up to go to that factory was wild as hell to me, and I always felt like somebody just socked his ass out.
He's a scammer. He's
a scammer.
Lazy. He lazy. Yeah. He knew he could walk.
The whole time, bro.
He didn't even get up and have to go through like physical therapy. Like, okay, let me get my legs back. He was like, no, I'm ready to walk this whole tour several times.
He jumped up. You don't remember? He jumped
and he
up.
danced. Yeah, he did a little dance. That would have been crazy.
I knew.
If I was the dad, you would have had to see me when you got home, baby. You would have had to see me.
Did he have a dad?
Wasn't it the mom, the dad, and the grandparents?
The grandparents.
Who else did he live with?
The grandma was in the bed too. She was
right. Grandma was in the bed.
I don't think there was a dad. Yeah,
it wasn't a dad.
I don't think so.
Charlie didn't have a dad, huh? It was just Grandpa Joe.
Mm-hmm. That was the, and that's why he brought him. That was like the male figure.
The leeches. He's a leech.
He is a leech, though. Lazy as fuck too.
Disgusting.
Nah, the dad left for somebody who didn't just make cabbage soup all day. You feel me?
Wow.
When I was like, bitch, you make pancakes?
You need to learn how to cook yourself. Well,
Probably I'm not coming home.
Yeah, I ain't never coming home.
Look, I wouldn't live in a house with all them either. Like they was in a one-room shack.
Ooh,
the bed is in the living room, right next to the kitchen.
But we digress. We talking about being hungry because our stomachs are a bottomless pit, and that just so happens to be what this conspiracy is about. All right, we talking about Mel's hole.
Oh,
who's heard about Mel's hole?
Pause for jokes.
Anybody been in Mel's hole?
No. It's quite spacious.
This is dope for me because like there are conspiracy theories that we've either heard of or seen a movie about. I've personally never heard of this one. And it's interesting. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but there's a show that just came out that's based off of this. Essentially what it is, Mel's Hole is a legendary bottomless pit located near Ellensburg in Washington State. So the tale of Mel's Hole became it started around February 1997. There's a man named Mel Waters. That's Mel.
Oh, so Mel's a man?
Mel's a man. It's not like Melissa or Melinda. Mel is Mel, Mel Waters. He called into the popular paranormal-themed radio show called Coast to Coast AM, which was hosted by Art Bell. And he claimed that he owned a piece of property in the middle of nowhere that featured an unusual hole. So according to Mel Waters, the hole on his property was at least 9 feet in diameter and appeared to have no bottom. He reported several strange attributes associated with the hole. Basically, it had an unusual depth. He claimed that he had used a fishing line and a weight to measure the depth of the hole. But after lowering 80,000 feet, around 15 miles of line, he still hadn't hit the bottom. Now I'm just going to stop right here. And are there fishing rods that can go 15 miles of line, 80,000 feet of line? Is that even?
Why would you even have that? Maybe he went to the store and got it.
And just tied them together?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, that's...
So it's possible. So he could have jerry-rigged it. Okay. So he's claiming that this is 80,000 feet deep, 15 miles, which Hippie told me that's deeper than the Mariana Trench. So the deepest part of the ocean, he's saying that this hole goes deeper than that. There's also been
inner Earth.
You said what?
So this hole goes to inner Earth.
I don't know how deep inner Earth is, but it go deeper than the ocean. Let's just say that.
I was just going to say, how is a hole that deep and doesn't encounter any water? There's no water in this hole. Like, how is it just a hole, an empty hole with no water in it? Because to go that deep, you have to hit some water, I would imagine.
Water or iron or magma, something. But I think that there's probably a lot of connections from this conspiracy to like other ones, like Steph was saying, inner Earth or even hollow Earth. This could have that fishing line, if this really was real, and if hollow Earth was that short of a distance down, it could have started breaking into the sky of hollow Earth. So I guess there is maybe some connections. But it's not only the depth, there's odd effects associated too. So local residents reportedly used the hole as a dumping ground for various materials, and it never seemed to fill up. So there were claims of animals avoiding the hole, strange effects on nearby radios, and electronic equipment. So that's kind of scary. Obviously animals could just be afraid of a hole, but I do listen to what animals' vibe is and what they're scared of. But it having like an electronic effect on like equipment, that is kind of creepy for just a hole in the earth,
So there's no way for us to go down there, because I feel like there is. Out of all the technology,
a super expensive drone.
Yeah, I feel like
a drone, or like them cameras that they be putting into the ice in Antarctica, like when they be like drilling. I feel like this was 97. I don't know what they were doing back then, but now this should be I don't know, provable. But there is a lot of skepticism and criticism. Mel's Hole has been met with all types of skepticism. It says several key points have been raised by skeptics. There's lack of evidence. That says there's no verifiable evidence to support the existence of such a hole. There's no photographs, no credible eyewitness testimonies or physical artifacts that have been produced, which is crazy. 97 was not that long ago. And if I were Mel Waters, there would be Polaroids, videotapes of like all of this stuff. And then there's also geological improbability. So it says geologists have noted that a hole of such depth and characteristics is highly improbable. The Earth's crust is not known to have any natural formations that could sustain a bottomless pit. And there's also inconsistent stories. Over time, variations and embellishments in the accounts provided that Waters has raised doubts about the authenticity of this story. Now, the reason I brought... You said what?
Can't they just go there? It's in Washington, right?
For real. It's not like it's in a super remote place.
Right. It's not in Antarctica.
But here's the crazy part for me. This is why I brought up the skepticism and the criticism so early before really giving you all the facts. Because in my opinion, if there's a lot of inconsistencies between some skepticism and the action of the skeptics, which proves to me to be more like suspicious. Like when the government is like, oh, don't worry, that's not a spy balloon. It's just, they're just checking the weather, but they shoot it down with an $100,000 missile. It's just like, damn, what you said to us doesn't match what you did about it. So let me give you guys the stories and alleged incidents that were related to Mel's hole. So government intervention. Remember, they said there's lack of evidence. It's improbable. It's inconsistent. It says Waters alleged that after he made his story public, he was approached by government agents who forced him off of his property. He reported that he was forcibly relocated to Australia. His property was seized, and he was warned to not speak of the hole again ever. He eventually returned to the U.S., and he claimed that he was threatened and surveilled the whole time. So that's just one of four, but let's just break that down. So the government said there's no evidence, there's no photos, there's no blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, they threatened this dude, seized his property, and forced him to go to Australia. Not even a state over, not even Canada.
Right, why he couldn't come to LA?
They put him on the other side of the world. So if there was evidence based on you doing that, you would have taken that shit anyways. Yeah. So how you rob somebody of everything that they had and relocate them and then be like, man, there's no evidence of that even happening. That's crazy to me.
But this is so crazy. And this is even crazy that they have the power to make somebody relocate that far, leave behind your family, friends, because they can't just up and leave like that.
Right.
Well, if the government say so, they can.
Yeah, but I mean, if they force him to leave, I would hope that they set up some type of living arrangement for him. They're not going to do that same thing for all of his family and friends because they want to. I would imagine they want to keep him separated, keep him isolated, so he can't talk about what he found.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they did put him up just to keep the chatter at a minimum. But at the same time, it's like they put you in Australia and you were homeless in Australia. What could you do? They said you can't talk about this again, and that's what's scary about it. This dude finds something for whatever reason. He phones the information to a paranormal show instead of the police or the news or whatever. But he says that not only is it going past the Mariana Trench, it's like it's giving like weird electronic phenomenon, like electronic equipment is failing and having strange effects. And then the government says you can't talk about this anymore, moves him to the other side of the world. And he's threatened and has like bugs put on him just in case he does want to speak on it again.
And then here's the whole show now.
But here's the crazy part. Resurrection of dead animals. So one of the more bizarre claims involves that for whatever reason, their dog died and they threw the dead dog into the hole. And then later the dog just came back alive and healthy by its owner. Now, I find it really weird that we could, where we humans are so weird that, there'll be a local bottomless pit, natural phenomena. This is amazing. Science have never seen this before. And then people just immediately just start throwing trash in there. Like, okay, for sure. I'm gonna just start throwing my trash in there. And then the phenomenon that came on after that was like, it never built up to the top. Like, you guys are insane. But then somebody was just like, my dog died. I'm not going to bury it. I don't want to shovel or whatever the reason was. Threw the dead dog in, and then the most awkward shit happened. Dog was alive. Like,
so it's like a portal. It's like a healing portal.
Portal something, but for some reason, the dog, it didn't just come alive and go wherever that hole went. It came back and was alive and was just like, all right, we doing this again. This is awkward.
Because it didn't crawl out the hole, right? So
we no idea.
Yeah,
no idea.
So that
I agree with Hippie.
I was trying to like, huh?
I just said that sound like Pet Cemetery.
Absolutely.
I was just trying to think like, why would the government need to do all that? But if I could see people like throwing themselves into the hole if they thought like it would heal them of all illnesses and sicknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Why would that be a thought though? I guess
because if the dog was dead and came back perfectly healthy,
after the dead dog,
sick. Yeah, I'm saying if that message got out like that, then people who have cancer, people who have, all kinds of incurable diseases or whatnot would throw themselves into this pit thinking, and it could all be like a falsehood. I don't know. It seems him saying the government came and took everything away and now, he has no more access to it. That's
weird. Because if it was just a random hole, they could have just been like, nah, he's lying, blah, 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 move on, and then he could just spend the rest of his life trying to convince people that this is a bottomless hole. But taking it away and then sending him away is pretty suspicious.
It's pretty noteworthy. I think, the government always suspects that whatever is going on, we're not ready for it as a race to handle the truth, whether it's aliens, whether it's something more
immature.
Huh?
We immature.
Oh yeah, as a whole, absolutely. Absolutely, we are. Absolutely. And humans' first instincts of something that they don't know is to fear it. And typically when you fear something, you will do you are more prone to do something foolish, like something violent, because you're scared for the most part. So they just keep us in the dark of so much shit. It could be some crazy shit, but we won't know. We won't know until the probably shit is gone and over with.
Right. And the fact we can't visit it, or there's like it's government property. I don't really know what the updates with that is, but the fact that it was taken into government control and they just were like, don't worry about it, is super weird. And one of the other things that they said was there was a lot of suspicious military involvement in addition to his relocation. It said Waters claimed he saw unmarked black helicopters and experienced encounters with military personnel around the hole. So
what if he got schizophrenia?
Hold on. It was another movie, another show about this too.
From?
Damn it. No, it wasn't From.
Nope.
It was with these kids. It was something that was going on.
Oh, It.
Was it It?
No.
Yeah.
No.
It is a whale.
No, I'll find it. Pat, I'll let you go on so you can talk about the damn show.
My whole thing is like, don't tell me I'm crazy, but then also be doing all like, why are you sending helicopters over here if I'm crazy? Why are you moving me to Australia if what I'm saying ain't true? Like, give me one or the other. At least tell the public, like, yeah, this shit is crazy. You should probably move. That's what's insane. I can't be crazy and you doing all this stuff behind the scenes.
So how did he get this show if he had like all kind of NDAs and bugs and stuff like that?
What show?
Didn't you say there's a show based on it? Okay,
so no, it's a scripted show. It's like a scripted show coming out on Prime. That's based off of this, but I'll get to that in a second. So the only other show that I mentioned, he called into a paranormal radio show to talk about this. And then that's when everything happened. That's when the unmarked black helicopters came. That's when he made it public and government agents forced him off the property, took his property, moved him to Australia. But here's what's crazy. He eventually was able to come back. And in 2002, he contacted Art Bell, who ran the paranormal show, and he claimed to have found another hole. Apparently, there's a very, very similar hole in Nevada, and this one is way scarier because he says that the hole has a metallic rim, which is like, I wouldn't even say man-made, but it's made. It's not natural. The hole has a metallic rim, and it emitted a strange beam of black light. So this is like an updated, less less low key hole that's very similar. It's bottomless, but for some reason it has the metal rim, and it's emitting a beam of black light. So I don't know. This kind of reminds me of like those crazy Navy conspiracies of people who are like out on sea at like pitch black midnight 1 a.m. and they said that the ocean opened up in a perfect circle and a ship would either fly out or fly in. So that's what this reminds me of. Like, is this like almost like a parking garage for something that's way, way, way underground? I don't know. That's pretty creepy.
He makes me more skeptical, saying he found a second hole like this. And what does emitting black light look like?
Right. Does that mean your shirt was glowing? If you had on a white shirt, it makes it glow like it would under a black light?
Right.
Maybe if it's daytime, the light is dark. You know what I'm saying? And
what
if
is
it's
a dark light? What is a dark light?
That's a black light. You feel me? No, we talking about alien shit. You don't know what's possible and what ain't.
I know.
Maybe it's one of those things that could locate, semen and blood, or maybe it's just straight up
UV
a black light.
UV black light.
Well, those lights be purple.
But that's called a black light, isn't it?
But it's called a black light. But if you're talking about a strange beam of black light, you might be actually saying what you're looking at. If I didn't know that black lights or purple lights were called black lights, and I was looking at a light that was black and I was looking at a light that was purple, I would call the purple light a purple light, and I would call the black light a black light. So yeah, it's a term with technology, but if you're just describing what you're looking at, he might have been looking at a light that was just straight up black. You feel me?
So you can't see it at night.
I'm trying to be on Mel's side here.
I don't know. The second, finding another hole like that for me is like, okay, he got schizophrenia. I'm convinced.
If he has schizophrenia, he wouldn't have been moved.
Who's to say he was really moved?
Why would you relocate and take his property if he was diagnosed with something that you could just be like, hey, he has schizophrenia, none of this stuff is true?
That's paranoia, because this story is coming from him. This story is not coming from the government. Are there news articles?
You're saying that he could have not been moved for real?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying he could have made this whole thing up. This could be a whole.
Then why do you think nobody has gone to the hole to look at it themselves? Because it doesn't exist.
It was in his head. It sounds like paranoid schizophrenia. That's the skeptic in me.
That's what I was gonna say. I wish we had the exact location so we could try to look it up on Google Earth. Or do you think
there's no pictures? He got no pictures of even the hole from afar.
But he was also pressed by the government,
Yeah, that's just the skeptic in me. But if it's for real, that's the second hole is what made me just be like, The first one, I'm like, okay, we going with it. The government seized it and everything. But then when he's like, oh, I came back and I found another hole. But
if you were relocated to the other side of the earth and you had a grudge, a chip on your shoulder, you might have dedicated the rest of your life to finding out what that was. And if it's emitting electronic, signals and stuff like that, you could potentially find another one. It is crazy that none of this shit has pictures. And he said 2000. He said 2002. So he could have just really quickly uploaded it to Facebook if they were really on his ass like that, anyways. But I mean, first of all,
well, not Facebook in 2002. But
when did Facebook start?
Facebook started in 2000, maybe
2004. No. Well, yeah, somewhere around there. It started with colleges first.
Yeah, it started with only colleges, and then after a year, it opened up to the general public.
All right, well, shit, E-Bomb's world, wherever he could have.
Yes, that's why I'm like, this just really sounds like. And schizophrenia stories are so entertaining, but.
That's why I like stuff like this.
I wish there was some sort of picture or something that we could see or that could corroborate something.
Hippie, here's the Here's the photo.
That's like no.
It's Mel's hole. And as you can see, he's throwing a rock in it.
Oh my God.
Oh,
That's
shit. Is that the second one or the first one? Oh, wow. Okay. So, okay. I mean, it looks how I thought it would look. It looks like a hole, you know, really hard to prove. I'm not really someone who would fly out there and hike out there to prove it wrong anyway, especially if if there's rumors of the government keeping people away and moving people away, that shit is not worth it.
Yeah.
But also it's like most conspiracies, it's entertaining either way. Do I believe this? I don't know. It's a pretty cool story though.
Yeah.
If here's the other part of how I think. If there is a grain of truth to any of this other stuff, inner earth, hollow earth, these things would be possible. It'd be very far-fetched. But if you were to believe in that stuff, then maybe these would be entrances, maybe like little, I don't know, emergency exits. There's probably some grandiose entrances if this is real. But if this is attached to those, then the government would clean some shit up, send that nigga away, say he crazy. Right. And that would be probably what happens. But
then somebody like me be believing, oh, he just crazy.
Who knows? Who knows?
What if it's the entrance to like hell?
It could be that too. I mean, and that then he should thank the government for relocating him, because they would be like, man, you was about to meet all the Satans. They saw that damn fishing wire come down there. They were about to come up. But right. I will say this: despite the skepticism, Mel's Hole has maintained a place in popular culture, particularly within paranormal and fringe communities. I'm not sure what a fringe community is. But not French, fringe, F-R-I-N-G-E.
Yeah, fringe.
It says it is frequently discussed in forums, podcasts like this, and YouTube channels dedicated to the unexplained phenomena. The legend has even inspired fictional works and creative adaptations in various media. There's a new show called The Outer Range on Amazon with Josh Brolin. I think they just dropped their second season. Yeah. So that kind of just like feeds into what I said. You know, nevertheless, it's a very interesting and intriguing story. The lack of evidence is concerning, but the story is very cool.
I feel like I'm going to follow it now. I'm going to watch the show at least.
Why not?
Yeah, I'm going to watch the show.
It was another show. I cannot think of it. It was like something went on and damn it, what was it on? Because it was following like this one soldier and this Asian chick who lost her love when the aliens first came or something like that. And they're like, the aliens were like this like little jumbled up black ball. They're like, I cannot remember, but it was a group of kids. It was a group of kids that were on the school bus. They were headed to some field trip.
Man of Steel. Sorry.
Oh, that's what Tahir's talking about. E.T.
I can't think of it. Oh, I'm so bad that I can't think of it. I feel like it was a Prime show, but I can't find it right now.
Stranger
you guys
Things?
are fucking lucky. You say what?
Stranger Things?
No, it wasn't Stranger Things. And of course, Farron added it to my watch list that she watches, so I don't even see it on my watch list. But I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna tell y'all, and y'all be like, "Oh, I ain't seen that." Or you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you absolutely right."
We are sorry as a collective.
Fuck you, Pat.
Look, I love alien stuff, you know, and I like the suspension of belief. So I kind of like enjoy reading stories like this. This story is a little shaky, but there is always a part of me that's just like, man, if they were willing to go through the lengths of moving him across the world, then it's like, we wouldn't have heard of any of this stuff. We wouldn't have had the evidence. You know, you hear about the Men in Black that's real, that be coming and confiscating tapes from places and stuff. So I don't know. I feel like I like to leave at least 1% of belief in there, just in case Mel's hole is a gaping hole that I could one day jump into. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. What do you think Pat's hole would do? There was a hole called.
It would definitely bring some dead dogs back to life.
I think Steph's hole would be like the youth. It would bring you back to youthful.
It'd be the size of a football field, and people would go in. People would go in 10 at a time.
Wow.
You started.
Well, I think that's about time for us to get the fuck out of here.
You didn't want us to get to Tahir's hole, huh?
I don't, because I already know y'all was gonna say it's filled with gumdrops and jelly beans.
You come out with freckles.
The wallpaper is chicken skin. You can just pull it off.
Ew, that's horrifying. That's worse than ours.
Ew, your whole walls are chicken skin? Fried chicken skin?
That's like horror film shit.
Yeah, you go into Tahir's hole and start eating the sides of his walls.
Wow.
Invasion was the name of the show that I was talking about.
Invasion?
Yes. Did y'all see that?
Mm-mm.
It's a show? It's a show. Let me I'm trying to think what it was online. I knew I was gonna find that shit. Wait till y'all see it.
Let me see if I look at it.
Sick of y'all shit. Let me see what it's on. No. Man, maybe it's on HBO.
Oh, Apple TV.
Apple TV. Yep. Apple TV.
Thanks,
Is that where did they put a video game thing on their heads and they went into this alternate reality with aliens and stuff? It was an Asian girl and the
chick did, because she was trying to figure out their language. She was trying to figure out their language so she could beat them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Invasion.
I watched like 3 episodes of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they on one part they had a really deep hole out by where it actually all started from, in this cornfield. It was a super deep, you know what? Fuck it. Thank you guys so much for watching this, but another episode of Conspiracy Corner with these assholes. Thank God to our guest Persephanii for pulling up. As always, up to hear more.
I'm Patrick Cloud.
We'll see you guys on the next mature episode of Conspiracy Corner.
The mature episode.
Wait, how did I make the confetti come?